We put him away. Put him away, 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 put him away. In the White House, the mighty White House, the liar tweets tonight. In the West Wing, the self-obsessed wing, the liar tweets tonight. Put him away, 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 put him away. He says, hush you doctors, hush reporters, hush you science nerds. Look, my ratings are through the roof when I just say happy words. Put him away, 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 put him away. Everyone can get a test. It's just the flu. It's a hoax like all the rest. A left-wing coup. We've got lots of PPE. The cupboard's bare. It's Obama's fault, you see. The buck stops there. In the country, the quiet country, no nurses sleep tonight. But in the White House, the full of shite house, the liar tweets tonight. Put him away, 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 put h
Sequence starts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome. Here we go. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed for Wednesday, April 22nd, the year of our Lord and the year of our Unix 2020. And as is the custom recently, I will remind you that this program is not live, so no phone calls, please, as we continue through the stay-at-home era where we're recording the show every day and then sending it in. And then Peter White, who is the not only the morning man at WMNH, but the program director, he loads it in for us and makes sure that it plays from 4 to 6 p.m. in its usual time slot. But, of course, because of the stay-at-home order from the governor, which expires on May 4th, but we'll see what happens. I have a feeling he's going to extend it. But because of that, live programming has been temporarily suspended at WMNH. So everything that you're hearing is pre-recorded audio, but we soldier on, and I have a wonderful pre-recorded interview to share with you in just a couple of moments. Really excited about this. But I want to take a moment and just remind everyone, of course, please continue to support our wonderful sponsor, the Hop Knot, at 1000 Elm Street in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, right in the Brady Sullivan Plaza. Great place, great food, great people. And they are open for business Wednesday through Saturday from noon to 7 p.m., open for carryout, and they are doing deliveries now as well. And we do share out the menu right on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And by the way, please give our Facebook page a like if you haven't done so already. But they have delicious gourmet pretzels, they have craft beer, they have wine. And by the way, under the current stay-at-home order, you can have alcohol delivered. If you get it from the Hop Knot, you do have to purchase it with food, but you can have it delivered. So it's something to keep in mind. But yes, the Hop Knot. Please support our wonderful sponsor, and we are very honored and privileged to have them as a sponsor of the show. So what we're going to do is I've got this great interview that I did earlier with a gentleman named Steve Mackey. No relation to our friend Brian Mackey from the No More Excuses podcast. Different Mackeys. But Steve Mackey, also known as Steve 3M, he's got this fantastic new track. It's called Experimenting, and it's featuring Ann Dizzle and Good Bars. And I love this song a lot. It's really cool. It's very catchy. It's also kind of unique. You'll understand when you hear it, but really, really love this. So we're going to give this a listen. I believe this is the world radio premiere as far as FM radio of this track. So we'll give this a listen, and then we'll go right into the interview that I recorded with Steve earlier in the day. Had a wonderful conversation. I think you'll enjoy it. And then afterward, I'll play. We'll let that be a surprise. But anyway, here it is. This is Experimenting, Steve 3M featuring Ann Dizzle and Good Bars.
Anyways, I don't know about you. Wait, yesterday into today? Yeah, whatever that means. But, okay, so Kayla and I used to play that count all the time.
Well, now, really, when we go back then to falling in love and say it's crazy, falling. You see, we don't say rising into love. There is in it the idea of the fall. And it goes back, as a matter of fact, to extremely fundamental things. That there is always a curious tie at some point between the fall and the creation.
Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. The chemistry is crazy, and I'm in love. Like, oh my God, I love the way you make me better me, and it's a drug. So on my road, not playing a fool, 'cause you were my world. Feeling alright today, got me feeling some type of way, feeling myself some type today. You were the drug, falling in love, and you were the plug, 'cause I am your hero, and you were my heroine. Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. The chemistry is crazy, and I'm in love. Like, oh my God, I love the way you make me better me, and it's a drug.
Full of my God, I'm so in love. You're the one I've been dreaming of. When I lay it down at night with you by my side, got me feeling like everything will be alright now. Well, I'm never gonna lead you on. Believe me, I'm keeping it real. I'm writing these lyrics, but really there isn't the words that describe the way that I feel when I'm with you. When I'm not with you, I miss you. Can't resist to kiss you when you come back. Wanna make it official, I'm with that. That's a big fact, 100%. Since the day that we met, knew you was my ride or die from the jump. My angel sent from above. Oh my God, I'm so in love. Well, I cannot get enough. Becoming addicted to the voodoo that you do to me. Who would have knew that a player like me would want to do a monogamy? There's got to be an anomaly. I'll give it the moon, the sun, the stars, whatever you want from me, girl, you got me.
Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. The chemistry is crazy, and I'm in love. Like, oh my
with me the long way. Spicy Wild West and busting shots like I'm John Wayne. Switching in the car lane, never do we part ways. Artists through the dark pain, sesting just to parlay. Shawty talking about a wedding, something I ain't never stressing. I receive it like a blessing, I just give a couple guesses. Every day she got my hoodie, now she calling me goody. Got her press up like my Woody, make her sing in a movie. Hard about that visa, now we flying with a visa. Share my soul with this girl, giving pieces like a piece of missing chemicals. But her mama tryna ridicule, we break the rules. Experimenting, never lose.
Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. Experimenting with love, like Alan Watts. The chemistry is crazy, and I'm in love. Like, oh my God, I love the way you make me better me, and it's a drug.
Well, now, really, when we go back then to falling in love and say it's crazy, falling. You see, we don't say.
All right, everyone. So joining me now via phone, of course, from a very safe distance, as that's how we're doing all of our our interviews these days. Steve Mackey joins us on the line. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm very excited to talk to you. A mutual friend of ours sent me this this track, "Experimenting." Is that the full name of the song itself?
Yeah, we call it "Experimenting."
And I absolutely love it. It's very catchy, but it's also unique. You know, it's got some elements to it that aren't like what you normally hear, on the radio, shall we say.
Right.
Who else is on this with you?
So I have my friend Andy Ryan, or the great Ann Dizzle, I guess is his rap name.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Andy Ryan, and then Timothy Thorpe, who goes by Mr. Good Bars, and he actually owns and operates the Toy Box Studio in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
And so he's he made the beat and produces everything and mix masters, all that fun stuff, and he's a real good dude to work with.
I think I've talked about him with another guest we had on the show. There's a band. Oh, now I'm forgetting who it is, but his name has come up before, absolutely. And the name of the studio is the Toy Box.
Yeah, the Toy Box, and he's actually in the band Sepsis, which is a local band, but they just got signed. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Sepsis has been on the show.
Wow! Cool.
Yeah. This was a while ago. I think they might have been on a couple of times. Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
And then, so you're the lead vocal on the track?
I am. Yeah. So on that track, I do the chorus and the first verse.
Okay.
And it's actually like my first attempt at really doing like hip hop type music. You know, they were talking about doing something like Post Malone type stuff, and I was like, all right, I guess I can give that a shot. Like, so this is what we came up with, and we took the Alan Watts intro, and then just kind of built off of that. And I literally just sat there in the studio. He you watch the engineer put the beat together, and it's just crazy how many different windows and different things they open up and shortcuts he's hitting on the keyboard, and he made the beat, and then we wrote the song right there. So it all came together in about probably 4 hours from start to finish.
That's amazing to me because it's so good, and it sounds great, and like I said, it's kind of original. In that I've never heard anything quite like it. I think it's that what is that from, the dialogue and everything that's at the beginning and the end of the track?
So the dialogue is actually Alan Watts just talking about love. You know, he's just just got a way of explaining things, on a scientific level.
Now, who is that? Who is that? Alan Watts?
Yeah, Alan Watts. Yeah, he's I guess you could say he's a scientist and philosopher, and he's definitely a good speaker. He has a lot of tracks that you can actually listen to of him just explaining things and talking about life and philosophies he has on different things. And self-help books, that kind of stuff. Like he's just brilliant. He's really boring to listen to, but if you take the information he's telling you, he's actually extremely brilliant.
Interesting.
You can learn a lot from, yeah.
No, and it fits the song perfectly. I mean, that's great. So this all came together in 4 hours. That's amazing.
Yeah, that song literally came together in 4 hours.
That is wild. Wow. And then but you must have did you have the lyrics already, or did you come up with those on the spot?
No, we actually, everybody wrote their own parts. So everybody, Andy raps first, and Good Bars goes second, and then, the hook and my verse, I wrote all that.
Yeah.
So we all literally sat there bebopping our heads together, listening to the track over and over and over and over again, just the instrumental. And we had our notepads and we were writing, and then, I came up with the hook, and then from there we just listened to the hook over and over and over again, and they wrote their parts to try to fit kind of the mood and the vibe that I was going for. And it all just kind of came together. It was cool. It's kind of cool to watch the process, especially where I'm still fairly new at this myself. So, I think the engineering aspects of everything is really interesting.
Yeah, was this your first time recording in a real recording studio, or have you done this before?
It was. So it's my second song that I've recorded, but it's probably my best for sure.
Yeah.
I like when you make music, somebody told me a while ago, they're like, it's funny, if you just keep pumping out songs, you're going to get to the point where like, you're more worried about making your next one better, and you already start to hate the first stuff that you made. And I'm already, so I'm already there with that first song. But this is the first song that's been, professionally done all the way through, mixed and mastered. It's being put out for free right now.
Mm-hmm.
Every song going forward from here will be up streaming on iTunes and be fully licensed and all that stuff. But this is the first song under my stage name, I guess, is Steve 3M. So this one's going up completely free. This is just a feel-good song. Everybody's stuck inside right now. Everybody, enjoys love.
Yeah. You said something too that kind of sounded like, have you done other genres of music prior to this, or because it kind of sounds like you're just kind of now getting into this space that you're working in? Is that correct? Or
yeah, I'm honestly just getting into all of it. I don't put myself in any sort of genre just yet, just because I don't really know myself.
Yeah.
This kind of all started, I think, like 2017, and it was a song that I really liked, and I was standing in my mom's bathroom, and I recorded myself singing it completely a cappella without an instrumental.
Huh.
And within probably 3 weeks, the video blew up and had like 1,800 views. And it was surreal. It was really, it was a really cool feeling. I sing different, I guess, than I do on this track normally, or when I'm, when I'm really trying to belt it out versus when you're trying to do some hip hop stuff. A lot of people have actually told me that they like some of the other videos that I've done a little better, just because you can hear my voice more.
Yeah.
Than the more hip hop stuff, but that stuff is definitely coming. We have 2 songs in the works right now. One of them's completely acoustic, and there'll be like no auto-tune on my voice whatsoever. It'll be kind of like, you're listening to Ed Sheeran sit in the studio and just sing to a guitar. So
yeah.
Definitely trying to do a bunch of different stuff. Yeah.
Cool. And those videos, I mean, are those still up? Are they on YouTube?
Yeah, some of those videos of, so I've been calling them car acapella sessions, and since this COVID stuff happened, we can't really go anywhere or do anything. So I've honestly just been, I've been practicing different styles of songs and different music, and I'll go out to my car at 2-3 in the morning and I'll actually record myself on my phone doing an acapella.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I call those the car sessions, and those are on YouTube on the same channel as the other track that I sent you guys.
So, oh, that's awesome.
And also on my Facebook.
Yeah. Do those do you ever do one of those and then delete it and redo it, or are those all first take?
Those are pretty much all first take. If I put it up, I put it up, and that's it. I actually think that the fact that they're not perfect is kind of endearing, and because I'm allowing people to see the process too. Like I've never had a voice lesson. This is something I did as like kind of a joke and just like a little bit of a hobby.
Yeah.
And then people randomly started reaching out. And then more people started reaching out, and then now 3 years later, I have, I don't want to say who, because there's nothing set in stone ever, but there are, signed artists that are reaching out for me to maybe do features in the future, and some pretty big names in the industry that are coming forward. So it's like, it's kind of steamrolling right now, and it's all crazy.
Yeah. That's awesome.
2 weeks ago it was singing in my car and just putting this on Facebook, and now I'm doing a radio interview with you. So it's like, you know what I mean?
You just never know. Yeah, that's great.
Right.
That's great. So you've never had a voice lesson. So you just,
this is all natural. I actually am still scared to death to sing in front of people. So like, for me to sing in the studio, it's been interesting, but once I get comfortable with the producer, and it's just me and him, or me and maybe one other, whatever. But if I were to like sit here and try to sing on the phone for you, or have even one other person in this room sitting next to me, my voice would shake. So I'm still getting over that aspect of everything. But
yeah,
the more I do it, the more comfortable I get.
Oh yeah, that'll come, and then granted, some performers never lose entirely that little bit of nervousness, but you don't necessarily want to lose that entirely either. It's good to be a little bit, there's different kinds of nervous, and to be, nervous but excited about something is a good thing. So,
right. Yeah. I just had a guy that plays in front of crowds, literally, and he's like, it's probably never going to go away. He's like, I still go out there and I get nervous.
Yeah.
I've done it this amount of times where once you start and you start singing and you start getting into your rhythm, it goes away. But first walking out there, it's nerve-wracking every time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, cool. Good to know.
Yeah. No, that's good though, because if that's your normal, and it may very well be, then it's once you start to lose that, once you get used to it and you start to lose that, then you've got a problem.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's, how many of those videos have you done, by the way? Do you know a rough number of those car a cappella videos?
Maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
But I'm also posting more all the time. So I might go post another one tonight, might be tomorrow. But I pretty much I sit around and I try to write my own music, and then if I'm thinking of a certain style, I'll try to find a song that I really like, and then I'll practice that one. And then since I'm practicing it anyway, I'll go make a video, and people like to see the process. So it's kind of getting everybody else involved too, which is nice. And a lot of people are excited, and it feels good when people comment and they're like, "Hey, it sounds really good, man." You're like, "Oh, thank you." Like,
yeah,
I needed that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So this is not necessarily a music question, but I do find myself asking everyone this these days. How are you doing with everything that's going on? Are you holed up at home? Or are you able to? I don't know. I don't know what you do for work, if you're an essential worker or anything like that. So you have to go out. I mean, how are you kind of maneuvering through this? This whole weird thing that we're going through.
Yeah. No, everything's definitely weird right now. Fortunately for me, I was not technically an essential employee, so I got to hang out at home for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough, I had some money saved in the bank, so I haven't been working, but I've been trying to use my time to at least stay constructive.
Yeah.
So I can't go to work. I actually start work back again tomorrow, so that's good.
Okay.
But, yeah. But I figure I could sit around and watch Netflix and play video games and do absolutely nothing, or I can at least I told myself I would do at least 2 positive things towards my music goals every day, whether it be sitting down and trying to write a song or work on a song that I already wrote, maybe change something or find, new instrumentals, or talk to some of the producers that I've been working with and see if they've got any ideas or instrumentals, or, you know what I mean? I've just been trying to push something music related at least 2 steps every day, so that I don't lose any momentum, because this thing is definitely going forward right now. So
yeah. No, that's great. And, I think that's the right way to approach something like this. If you can, use this time to, make the best of it and be creative and be constructive and whatnot.
Right. You got to try to come out better.
Yeah, exactly. And, too, I've been saying to everybody, we're very fortunate that this is happening when it's happening, because if this had happened 30 years ago when we didn't have nearly the level of technology that we have now, it would be very difficult to be constructive and creative at home. We live in an era where, because I'm old enough to remember, pre-internet times, and we live in an era where I can actually record a radio show from home. One time, that would not have been possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of things that people can be doing right now, definitely.
Yeah.
And especially with the internet, like, everybody's at home watching right now, so it's the best time, I think, for what I'm trying to do, in the sense of, if we're releasing music and people really vibe with it and they like it, now's the time they're going to be sitting at home all day and they're willing to listen to it in the first place. So, we're just trying to, at least me and a lot of my friends that are doing this music thing, we're just trying to entertain people and get our names out there and finally do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, and I think that's a great way to look at it. You've got this is a moment where you're likely to have a captive audience, because so many people are stuck at home and they're looking for things to do. They're looking for new things creatively that are interesting to them. Music obviously being a big one of that. So I think that's a great way to approach it. And now, are you from here originally? Or are you from Manchester?
Well, I was born in Nashua, and then I think from 19 to about 26, I think I had an apartment in Manchester, and I lived there for quite a few years.
Okay.
But I'm from, like, the general area, yeah.
Yeah, cool. And how do you know? So it's Veronette who connected us. How do you know her?
Yeah, she is a friend of mine through Facebook. And that's about where it starts and ends. She just ended up liking the song, and she told me she knew a guy, and she wanted to introduce me to some people, and here I am. It's pretty much that simple.
Yeah, great. No, I'm glad she did, because like I said, I played the track, and I said, wow, this is fantastic. And I look forward to hearing more from you in the future. Now, do you have, it's probably tough right now with everything going on, but do you have any kind of a general ETA on when we might hear some of the newer stuff that you're working on?
Hopefully in the next couple weeks to couple months. It all depends on if I can convince my new producer to open up his space or not.
Yeah.
And when I can get him to do that. We do have a couple videos up on YouTube, and I'll still be doing the car a cappella things, and probably, singing some stuff over some beats as I write. But as far as actual studio tracks and all that stuff, it's kind of up in the air, but it's not hopefully going to be too far away. We definitely have some stuff written and some stuff ready to go. So as soon as we can get in there, there'll definitely be stuff up for sure. Yeah.
Outstanding. Yeah, and we'll have to have you back soon, and we'll play some of the new stuff when it's ready. And we got to make sure too that we let people know where should they go to find everything that you're doing online, YouTube and Facebook and all of that.
Yeah. So right now, everything should be on STEV3M Music. and that's our YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's Steve 3M Music, and then my name is Steve Mackey on Facebook, and I'm nowhere near 5,000 friends yet, so I will be accepting everybody interested in my music, and you can just add me and see everything on there too.
Outstanding. Well, again, congratulations, and it sounds like it's cool. It sounds like you're in the you're on the ground floor of your career. It's like it sounds like you're just at the beginning of it, which is exciting. It's cool to talk to somebody who's really just things are just kind of starting to take off, and I'm very glad, and we look forward to having you back again in the near future.
Awesome, thank you. Glad to be here.
And your true colors starting to get loud. Oh, have fun praying to your great God now. And all that you taught me to be was a moper, a dreamer that only refused to dream. Oh, save it, please. I'm peeking through your speakers and I only want to show you the way. How could you shelter me out? I'm much older now. Oh, you shatter like a beaker when I only want to show you the way. Hey, and I build my way out of your demise. Cheap thrills are my castles, not the walls you built up around me. Oh, and I look into my watch and I know, 'cause time is gold. Oh, and when all your cards are on the table, pray the floor is still unstable and dance the night away. 'Cause this war don't determine who's right. This war just determines who's left standing tonight. Stop handing me lights. I can see in the dark just fine, but I'm not blind.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
The news that is breaking is history making.
There's outbreak all over the world.
Economy's tanking and each parent's banking on schooling for each boy and girl. The news that is pressing is always distressing. The future is bleak and unclear.
Yet maybe the virus can somehow inspire a solution to all of our fears.
But what could we do in a time so uncertain? It's certain the ending is near.
Don't you see? Guys, the solution lies in all of us. In me. In you. You can be a hero. You can join the fight.
You can be a hero and stand up for what is right.
They say the threat grows larger,
but we can turn the tide. 'Cause we can be the heroes who never go outside.
Our grandparents stormed the beaches of Normandy. Our parents fought tirelessly for civil rights. Now it's our time to step up and save the world for the comfort of our own homes.
I stayed in bed past noon.
Or stress ate on my food.
And every day I catch up with my friends while in the nude.
I can't stop watching Netflix. As for shows, I binge them all.
And when my Wi-Fi's down, I bang my head against the wall.
I know you might feel restless when life is such a bore, but are you really acting differently than how you did before? Come on. be honest.
I stopped taking showers. My roommates think I reek.
I finally lost Monopoly. The game's been on for weeks. I did a single push-up. I failed at aerobics.
I think we're rapidly turning into agoraphobics.
I know things might seem gloomy when life is such a drag, but together we have got this in the bag. 'Cause you can be a hero.
You can join the fight.
You can be a hero and stand up for what is right.
They say the threat grows larger, but we can turn the tide. 'Cause we can be the heroes who never go.
I shut out all the signs.
So brave, I boarded up the door.
So bold.
I've never felt so glad to be an introvert before.
I proposed to my Alexa.
Ooh.
She's gonna be my bride.
I watched Coco 15 times and every time I cry. I know it can get lonely when you're stuck in quarantine, but we'll always be united by our screens.
You can be a hero.
You can join the fight.
I deleted instantly.
You can be a hero and stand up for what is right.
They say the threat grows larger,
But we can turn the tide. 'Cause we can be the heroes who never go
Stay. At home. Come on, y'all. Please. Stay at home. Come on, y'all. Social distancing. Some of you aren't listening. Please, come on, stay. I feel this. Can we say that one more time? Stay at home. Woo, come on now. Yes. At. Stay at home. Social distancing. Come on. Some of you aren't listening. Say it again. Social distancing. Some of you aren't listening. 6 feet away. Woo. Woo, I feel that. Can I say that one more time? You gotta stay 6 feet away. Give me some room. Come on now. Give me some space. Bring it down. If you see me at the store, just wave at me. Don't get too close. Don't stop at my house either. I can't let you in. I'm sorry. If you see me outside, just wave at me. And don't stop by my house. I'm serious. You can't just drop by. I can't let you in. I'm sorry. Come on. If you see me at the store, just give me a head nod. Don't stop by my house. I can't let you in. I'm sorry. I won't let you in. 6 feet away. Come on. 6 feet away. Come on. Give me some space. 6 feet away. 6 feet away. Give me some space.
Break it down. Whew, I feel this right now. There's somebody out there right now. You like to hug on everybody. You want to get all in the get all in their face. Come on now. Softly. 6 feet away. 6 feet. Oh, come on. Move back. Come on. Softly. 6 feet. If you don't get back, that's 4 feet. All the way. 6 feet. 6 feet away. I see. That's 5.5. I need 6. Shh. 6 feet. 6 feet. Last time. Come on. Stay at home. Come on.
That's Social Distancing by Kevin Carter, and you're listening to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Today's show is pre-recorded. No phone calls, please. And I hope everyone is safe. Hope everyone is doing well. And, I like to find, it's very easy to find these funny songs about, the current situation, social distancing and all of that. So many people are dealing with it through, humor and positivity and creativity. And I think there's something very comforting about that. What we're going to do next is earlier today. So this is fresh off the presses. Recorded another edition of No More Excuses, hosted by the great Brian Mackey, and it is up on the YouTube. And I think I'm going to share some of that conversation with you on this show as well. I don't tell Brian ahead of time when I do this because I like to surprise him, but I know he gets a kick out of it, knowing that our conversation also goes out on FM radio when I do that. But we had a pretty interesting discussion, very timely, and we talked about some of the things that Jenny and I discussed yesterday on the show about the protesters. We kind of get Brian's perspective on that. So I might have to do a little editing because some of the language got a little salty because it's, when we record No More Excuses, we're just doing it for online. So you don't have to keep it clean for FCC regulation, but if I'm going to import some of that discussion into this show, I will have to clean it up. But that's okay. I don't mind. It's worth doing, and I really enjoy doing that show with Brian. And there's we've got 3 episodes up of it now since the relaunch. I think I shared some of episode 1 with this show, and episode 3, the new one. I'm going to share some of that with you now too. I like I said, I think you'll like it. So here it is.
Hey everybody, I'm back. Matt has called in. He's in the podcast mobile somewhere in the city of Manchester, New Hampshire. To be disclosed at a later time, Matt has free tickets to Garth Brooks in Rhode Island tonight. If you can find Matt, you'll win those tickets. Matt, what's up, bud?
That's not true. However, I will not disclose where I am for another reason.
Okay.
I have in my hand, which I'm holding next to my giant head.
Oh, no.
This I found by accident because somebody else was buying one. It is a bottle of hand sanitizer. And I am in the parking lot of the store at which I was able to purchase this precious bottle of hand sanitizer, 1 per customer. I will come back tomorrow when there's somebody else working and get another one. But I'm not telling y'all where I got it because I don't want the rest of you to come and buy it all. So sorry, mofos. It's all mine.
Now, Matt, I'm going to scold you. You know that, right?
I was an only child for most of my upbringing.
Oh well, you're immune to scolding, so I'll let it go.
Yes.
That kind of looks like a grocery store version of Germex. Am I close?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
Well,
I don't know. It's
Walmart would say equate. So
yeah,
Germex is kind of generic. So I'm guessing a grocery store. You know.
Well, it says though. It says kills 99.99% of germs. So this is the good stuff, no matter what you call it.
Do you believe that, really?
No, I'm an optimist. I believe it kills 100%.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. Hey, you know what I got the other day on eBay, and I thought it was a joke. There were two, count them, 44-ounce bottles of Lysol spray, pump spray, 2 of them.
Yeah.
32-ounce with 40% more, so they're 42-ounce. $4.77. Like, I'm going to buy it now. I'll get it in August. So I just hit buy it now, and I didn't look back.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it yesterday.
Oh, you did really? You got it already?
If you look up on Walmart, this stuff is $6.99 a bottle.
Yeah.
$4.77 for 2.
Wow.
There's some weird stuff going on Amazon. The tennis shoes I usually grace myself with once a year because they're $69 are $39 on Amazon right now.
Wow.
For no reason.
Oh, they're probably out of style.
Hey, easy.
Well,
they're not out of style. They're Nike. Okay. They're Nikes. Look, hey, that's not. Come on, man.
Those are out of style this year. Sorry.
No, why? The white stripes?
Yep.
All right. Well, then I need to see that. Well, it's too bad. I'll just buy all the old style then. And
those are very 2019. Sorry.
Well, yeah, okay. So I'm 63. You know, that works for me. I'm good till about 2029. Till I think I'm going to worry about, what do you call it? Out of style. I mean, I'm wearing shirts from 2010, so there's that.
That's fine.
Shirts, okay. Shirts are okay. Shoes are a whole different ballgame. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is all good to know. I'll remember this when I go in and edit it. I'll take some notes.
We know a lot about fashion here in New Hampshire.
Well, you know, Rhode Island was but that's where I learned to wear white tennis shoes, to be honest, was in New England. I'm from the South, and that's a no-no. People in Idaho don't appreciate my passed-on wife's gift. They say men don't wear jewelry. And okay, really? Yeah, not in Idaho. You wear your guns.
They'd rather you have guns than
you
jewelry.
Wear your gun into Lowe's to buy a 2x4 because you never know. You could just get jumped in that in the wood aisle. So. Yeah, I refused to wait on people that came to the paint counter with a gun. Although it's legal and Lowe's allows you in the store, I have my own personal rights, and you, someone else can wait on you. You've got no reason to be in here buying paint with a Glock, That's my opinion.
Right.
I'm all about the freedom, but come on, really? Can't you just park it in the car for now?
Yeah, people who do that don't help anything.
Well, they scare me.
Yeah, they don't help their own cause. It's. I mean, I have friends who are very, we're very pro Second Amendment here in New Hampshire, and but I have friends who are like, yeah, the people who push it too far end up doing more harm than good to the pro 2A movement.
Don't get me wrong. I'm pro Constitution. Period. But the point is, you don't need a freaking gun in a barbershop, man. Your ego's online, and you're flaunting I've got my carry. Well, so what? Everybody can get one for $225. You are not anything special.
Right.
What would make you special if that holster was empty and your gun was in the car while you're in here buying paint?
Right.
That would make you very special in my eyes. So, all right. Well, anyway, not to get off on. Well, I love getting off on tangents. That's where my brain goes. All right, so we covered stuff that I took care of this morning, which I'd love to hear your thoughts on that from a hypnotherapist, maybe in chat or on the phone. Bounce it off Jenny and see what she says, because there's as many people against it as they are for it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But some of the stuff that I looked over today and I think yesterday was, well, what happened yesterday? Yesterday, read anything about our buddy? Oh, I got a mouse on your face. Anything about Kim Jong-un come across your table?
I know that the only thing I've seen is that there's reports that he's very ill, possibly. Of course, you can never be sure that what we're getting out of North Korea is accurate, but something about he had surgery and he's potentially very sick, but that's all I know.
Well,
and I don't know if there's an update in the last few hours. But.
Well, there's been several. Of course, one is from CNN, so it's worth the wait that, it was broadcasted on, which was dead air. What do you call it? That it's
I trust CNN when it comes to international stories, personally.
Really?
I do.
All right, well, we'll leave that alone. CNN says it's all fake news. Fox says it's real news. New York Times says we don't have a clue. Well, somebody's got a clue. The problem is, it's really, and what's driving me bonkers, trying to educate myself on some of this. I'm ready to throw in the towel again, because it's just all like, he said, she said, and that's a bunch of crap. Oh, wait, but if you look over here or wait 2 hours, then it's as real as it gets. So I don't know. But anyway, that just came across that plate again today, that it's now true. ABC and NBC is reporting that it's true. Mm-hmm. Quickly, the guy passes. What are your thoughts?
Oh, if he passes away?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I assume. I don't know if he even has. Does he have children? I don't know if he even has children. I assume someone else in the family.
I think he's got siblings. I think he's got. Well, I know he's got brothers and sisters. But
I know he's had family members murdered.
Well, part of the report that the report is accurate is he missed a birthday event that would be like blasphemy never to miss this thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's a cause and effect from that for the United States. I know Mr. Trump has been trying to do what he's doing, whatever the end result with that would be with North Korea. But I was just curious if you'd seen it and had any response or any, response to if the idea of if he passes, what could happen to that whole complex.
Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, it could be very bad. It could be very good. It could be very bad if whoever takes over behaves like even more of a despot than Kim Jong-un.
Is that possible?
Yeah. I mean, it's always possible. It could always be worse.
Okay.
And it could always be someone who's not willing to exchange beautiful love letters with our president. But it could be better. It could also be someone who's very progressive, who wants to improve things for the people there.
Right.
And who maybe wants to even reunify with South Korea. Who knows? I mean, it's a crapshoot. It would be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, no matter what, they're already a nuclear power, and there's no putting that genie back in the bottle.
Well, there could be, I think, like you were just said a second ago, if you got somebody that had the mindset of going, enough's enough, 60 years, 80 years, whatever it's been, we're gonna follow, Berlin's, and we're gonna knock down our invisible wall, as it were. Mm-hmm. And we're going to change things. We're actually going to give food to South Korea so everybody's not worm infested and, all that neat kind of stuff. How nuclear are they really? I mean, we know they have lots.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know that they have lots to hit us, which I guess doesn't really discount the fact that they're nuclear. So, yeah, okay.
Right.
All right, yeah, I get it. That just popped into my soggy brain. All right, well, I was just curious on that because that came to culture shock to me. I saw it a couple of days ago and I went, no, this is all fake news and don't worry about it. And I was like, all right, forget it. Well, then it popped up again today in the feed, so I didn't know if you had been following it or seen any of that. Moving past another country, have you seen anything on and I'll go back to Como for a second, that he's now donating ventilators to other people, other hospitals, because he doesn't need them.
Yep. Great.
Well,
that's significantly great news. Because New York, for unfortunately, Massachusetts now has kind of become the epicenter of this. And
I think he sent 500 to Mass, is what I might have read. Don't take that to the bank. Maybe research it, but I thought he sent 500 or 400 to Mass.
Yeah, but the things are improving in New York, or seem to be less. Improving almost doesn't seem to be the right word, but the things are less horrible than they were thought to be. It is good news. I mean, it's
right.
We can't get complacent about it or cocky about it, but it is good news.
Well, where I'm going with this question or this topic, I'm reading late last night and then after my deal this morning that the COVID and a lot of people that are testing positive and put in the hospital and are getting x-rays to see if they should be put on a ventilator are showing all types of blood clots and heart restrictions, to where they weren't doing this before, apparently, putting people on the ventilators, and the majority of the people were dying. 80%, I think, was the last number. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, now they're saying, hold the presses, because the virus is causing heart damage, which is causing more stress, and you shove a tube down there, and then it's like, a lot of the people that have recovered never went on a ventilator.
Right.
And we discussed, I think, last week, a guy that died from a heart attack the day he put him on a ventilator. It just stressed his heart out. So I don't know if you've got anything to think about that, or if you've read anything about it, or,
Well, it's one of the things that's so insidious about this virus is there's so much that we don't know. We're continuing to learn more. I mean, it's good that we're continuing to learn more about it. And God, I hope, though, I mean, this is a little bit of a dark thought, but I mean, I hope that we're not learning more about it because there's more to learn. And what I mean by that is, I hope it's not mutating.
You know what? I'm going to bite my tongue on that statement, because you know where I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say hope doesn't float on that one. Mainly because, none of us except, how do I do this intelligently? None of us that are staying at home and paying attention and following the rules seem to understand the big picture. And that's just exactly what you said. The second round of something that could be stronger, bigger, badder. Because, you got some antibodies now. Well, watch this. I'm COVID-19 version 2.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand what the fight's about. I don't understand the protesting. I understand everybody screaming First Amendment. Well, isn't that free speech? It's not the right to work, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
hold on one thought. Hold on one second. Many, many years ago, because I remember it happened to me when I was in the union at the steel mill when I was in my early 20s, Texas became a right-to-work state. And part of that was, we don't need a reason to fire you. It was politics. But, you know, I was in the union, so it really didn't affect me until I got out of the union. Then I figured out, wow, that law really sucks for some of us. This screaming about the First Amendment to have the right to protest, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm lost, Matt. I don't understand what the fight's about.
Right. Well, they do have a right to protest. They just don't have the right to, they don't have the right to endanger public safety to do that, which is what these idiots are doing. We had Jenny and I had a big conversation about it that aired on today's show of my show. You know, and there's nothing, by the way, so I would say intellectually, there's nothing wrong. And in fact, I would encourage people to question. There's nothing wrong with questioning what we're doing. There's nothing wrong with asking questions like, are what we're doing an infringement on civil liberties? That's actually a great question for people to ask. People should ask that question. But you can ask that question and debate it and so forth without, you know, showing up with, because it happened here at our state capitol in New Hampshire. You know, you got several hundred idiots all crowded in together because they're not scared of the virus. And of course they got their guns out too. And, you know, they're showing that off and whatnot. And, you know, and they're endangering public safety by doing that. And they don't have a right to endanger public safety. Sorry. You know, they can protest and stay 6 feet apart, which obviously they're not going to do.
It's impossible. It's kind of impossible to do. But I guess the crutch to my question is, again, what's the argument about? Is it about the right to go back to work, or is it just about the right to flaunt my First Amendment rights?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, a lot of it's about the right to go back to work, but it's hard to reason with these people because these are the same people who, you know, they think they believe that it's being caused by 5G. They believe it's a hoax.
Well, yeah, there's that.
You know,
okay.
They believe all this other crazy stuff. So you can't really reason with them on facts. You know, and they're all very pro-Trump. And, you know, I had made a Facebook post about that. I saw you had liked it, that, you know, I don't understand these diehard MAGA people who, you know, Trump is their personal hero. And yet, and they're protesting the shutting down of the economy. And yet Trump is the one who initiated that federally, the shutting down of the economy. So they still love Trump. So what do they think, that Trump is being controlled? You know, that the Chinese are using 5G to control Trump's brain and it's not really his fault? I don't know. These people are stupid. And I you know, and I'm sure some people don't like to hear that. And, you know, I'm sure there were people in that crowd at the State House in Concord who are friends of mine or were friends of mine who don't like me anymore.
Right.
But they're a bunch of idiots.
Well, they don't like you anymore because you just exercised your First Amendment right. So it's not okay for you to do it, but it's okay if they do it. Yeah.
Right. And, well, by the way, too, and I said, and I think you and I might disagree on this because I think you had made a comment about it once, but I did make the observation on my show today, too, that these people who go and endanger public health while protesting, this is the exact same crowd. I guarantee you, every single one of those people, every single one in that crowd of people at the State House protesting, every single one of them, I promise you, are completely offended at a black guy kneeling harmlessly on a football field during the national anthem and think that he should be run out of the NFL and put in jail, and they're so offended by him. Meanwhile, these same assholes will go and protest and endanger and drag the rest of us down with them, endangering public health and safety. And by the way, what they're also too stupid and ignorant to get is them doing that kind of shit. They're prolonging this whole thing. They're prolonging it.
No,
the smart thing to do is, if they want to protest responsibly, make their voices heard, but they got to play along here so we can all get through this more quickly. They're slowing the rest of us down, which is kind of what happens in life anyway, right? That's what happens in the world. Stupid people slow the rest of us down. And you know what? If it were a case where the only people who are going to get sick are the people participating in the protest, I'd say fine. That's just Darwin. Let's thin the herd. They can get each other sick. They can die. F them. They're slowing the rest of us down. They're dragging the rest of us down. But unfortunately, that's not how this works. The thing that they think is a hoax, that they think isn't real, that they think is no worse than the flu, is more contagious than anything we've ever seen, ever, and it kills a lot of people. And if this had gone unchecked, experts say, we were looking at the loss of potentially millions of people globally would have died had we not taken the steps that we've taken.
We're still looking at that. We're still looking at that. We're still looking at that. That's not over. And the only point that we disagreed on, and that was last year, it was the arena in which, I keep it on top of my brain. I don't even remember the guy's name. It was the arena in which he pulled the second stunt, not the first one. The taking a knee, I think, was, wow, brilliant. And then it started a movement that I was a little uncomfortable with, but it is First Amendment, and that's just my thoughts. It was the second go-round where he wanted back into the NFL. Kaepernick. He wanted back into the NFL. They gave him a shot, and then he pulled this big media stunt to throw everybody off their game and moved it an hour before it happened, 2 hours away, or whatever it was. That nailed it for me. I don't give a what he wants to protest. He's an idiot. I'm not saying the rest of the world did. I did. I just don't now. The first go round I thought was, wow, who does that? That's pretty bold.
Right.
But to just play a game with the media and the NFL for the sake of playing a game, you can't respect. I can't respect that. There was no meaning to it.
I don't have any strong feelings on that part.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think we really disagree. The only thing that shot him down for me as ever giving him any more respect was because of that second event. I do not condone what he did. My personal opinion, and I'm not that political, so it's vanilla opinion, is that he could have done it in a different venue. But you know what? With that said, if he did, maybe it never would have took off like it did. So,
you nailed it, Brian. You nailed it when you say that, because that's the whole point of doing it in the venue that he did.
Well, for some of us, it takes time to understand that. We're reactive, not proactive. And after a while, I got it. And I was like, well, good on you, buddy. I'm sorry it all ended up this way. But now you got a second chance, and come on back. And, oh, no, you just had to piss that off, to the wind by being a jerk. So anyway, we don't disagree on why or what he did. I just don't like him anymore because of what he did on the second part. I think that was completely uncalled for, and I think it ruined the whole concept of his message. Had he not done that, he won.
Yeah.
Had he have done the tryouts, he'd be playing in the NFL, and he'd have gone 360 degrees going, look at me.
Right.
But no, he just threw it away. All right, let's move on. Where are we? Oh, we're good. We're way good. You got lots of daylight out there. Just on a funny note, or I don't know if it's funny, but on a weird note, did you see the article where the pastor tried to run down one of the protesters with the church bus?
I did not. I did not see that.
Yeah, he's in jail. The pastor actually had his people, congregating, And some lone dude, out there with a sign, and he got the church bus. And I don't know if there were people. I didn't read it. I just started laughing so hard I put it in my notes. And he's trying to run this one guy down that's protesting with the church bus. So we're way beyond protesting now. We're there used to be a terminology for that kind of hatred against protesters, and I don't remember it, but I think it had to do with a time in history. Some kind of schism, but I'm not sure.
But what was the guy protesting that they were having?
They were congregating, because the city is still under shutdown orders, so people are protesting that the governors are idiots and they don't want to abide by it. Although, God, that thing has so many facets. It's a big octopus on the argument. Freedom of speech. Okay. Freedom to protest. Yeah. But come on, man. What about common sense? Isn't that
right?
I guess that's not in the Constitution, that thou shalt have common sense when it comes to some of the...
That's true. That is not legally mandated in any way. Actually.
Well, can we like bring that to a vote? Can we get an amendment?
Be a different world.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Common sense is mandated, and anyway. So let's see. Any comments on that? Any comments on that type of mindset, trying to run down a protester with a church bus?
It's just so bizarre. It's what can you say about it, really?
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it goes back to the mindset of the people you were just talking about a little while ago, the idiots that
it's just so
ruining
so
things.
Wacky. I mean, does he think Jesus told him to do that? I wonder.
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody that's in religion has any contact with Jesus. I think they're all just, soaking up a whole bunch of money. But I learned the hard way. I was a Bible thumper for many years, and I was in Kenneth Copeland's group, as you know, and went to the biker rallies, and we've had that discussion already. Actually won a motorcycle there, not one worth keeping, but got a raffle, and I drove there in a car, so I couldn't get the motorcycle home, so I gave it away. But I used to send the gospel in on cassette tapes to halfway houses, into halfway houses in Texas. I had I had a whole stack about 3 feet tall of realistic audio gear. I had a Mackey mixer, and I had one of the version 1 groove tube microphones that you could still slice your finger on the edge. It was so unfinished. And required its own preamp. And I would sit back and I'd smoke cigarettes and I'd get faced and I'd preach the gospel and I'd record it and I'd send it into these halfway houses going, you can do it.
No kidding.
Until I got to the point where the hypocrisy just had, I sold everything and quit smoking for a while. But it was ridiculous, but it was what I needed when I had my little, what do you call it? I was on location, educational location. And, you look forward to anything in the mail. So if it's some drunken, smoking guy pretending he's a pastor, then it's something to do for on Saturday night. All right, so let's move on these soul confessions of truth or dare. What do you think about Biden's pick for vice president? Who's it going to be?
There's this story out there now. I don't think it's true. That,
I hope it's not true.
He's considering Michelle Obama. Well, I like Michelle Obama.
No, that's the wrong story for me. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I just don't think that she has any interest.
No.
But
no, there was a video today where AOC came out and she's just thumping it and riding it, going, and I would be a great pick. And I hope he realizes that, because I'm young and energetic and I can do all these things. And I'm just sitting here going, oh God, no. But some of the
she can't be president though.
She can't be vice president either. But she thinks she can.
Okay.
But she's got lawsuits pending against her, and there's an age factor and some other stuff. I don't think she qualifies legally for the vice presidency.
She's got a big political future ahead of her, I think. So
Boy,
eventually,
I don't want to go there because I'm kind of stuck in the mud about her. I just talk about freedom of speech and exercising your rights. Well, there you go. But no, I think there's a lot of, if you look at Facebook, which is, whatever, there's a whole lot of Warren gesturing or posturing that he's going to pick Warren.
That would be suicidal.
Fine. What's the non-suicidal choice?
He's got to pick somebody young. If he goes with Elizabeth Warren, you've got grandma and grandpa running for the presidency. You can't do that because people are already worried about his age.
Yeah.
I mean, she's granted. I mean, she's.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Amy though?
Amy Klobuchar?
Yeah,
she'd be a great pick. I said during the debates, I kept saying, like, I look at her and I think that's a potential president. So I think she'd be a great pick for VP. I think doesn't mean I agree with her on everything, and I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent, so I'm going to disagree with her on some things, but I might even be to the left of her on some things, but I think she'd be a great pick. I think she's very much qualified. I think she's very well spoken. She just projects a certain competence and confidence about her. I think she would be a great pick. I really do.
I had mentioned this on one of our past podcasts. She, to me, was the only presidential candidate that was up there. She acted like it. She spoke like it. She dressed like it. And, we've had our discussion. I think if you're running for president, you ought to dress like you are, and not wear spandex and a rather red coat, but whatever. I guess I've got my own awkward opinions, but the bottom line is my confidence level in her to actually take over when Joe is in, if he were to win, which is a big if, you kind of read the tea leaves and he's going to stumble and he's going to need somebody that is as strong and I think presidential as she is to back him up. And I think that would be a brilliant, I mean, I don't know that it would get my vote yet, but I'm certainly not happy with what I've got, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't fault Trump like a lot of people do. I don't throw every rock I can find. But I don't wear a MAGA hat, and I don't go out and punch people in the face that are going to vote Democratic either. So right. I call it independent if you want.
Yeah.
But I don't vote independent. I'll vote for somebody on either side, but I do not. What do you call it? I just don't. I guess, unfortunately, my mindset on politics is what did they do for me in my lifetime or my particular 4-year span? And maybe that's a selfish way to look at it, but don't most people look at voting that way? How is it going to impact me?
Well, it's funny. I actually think people don't vote that way enough, believe it or not. And what I mean is, I think people very often vote against their own self-interests and don't realize and just don't realize that they're doing it. You see this, for example, somehow over the decades, Republicans have been very, very successful at convincing poor, rural, white Americans that rich people must be protected at all costs and we must not tax rich people. So then you have these poor rural white Americans who vote against their own interests because they've bought into this idea that you must protect rich people. And it's very important that rich people not pay taxes. And if that means you are taxed up the wazoo, well, that's okay as long as we protect rich people. So I think people very often will vote against their own interests. And you to be fair, not to just pick on Republicans. I think the left does that too in other areas. For example, one of the things that drove me out of the Democratic Party and why I became an independent, even though on balance I certainly lean more left than right, especially in the times that we're living in now. But to me, it's hard to be an entrepreneur. It's hard to be a small business owner and be a Democrat, because Democrats, they spend so much time talking about unions and what we got to do for poor people and whatnot, which is good. You should talk about all that. You should care about all that. That's all very important, and healthcare and everything. But what gets lost in all that is they rarely talk about entrepreneurship, as though it's somehow like that's somehow looked down upon. Like, you got to get a job where you're going to be part of a union, because the union is the most important thing. And, if you just want to be an entrepreneur and you want to work for yourself, there's very few Democrats who, unless they're entrepreneurs themselves, like Tom Steyer or Andrew Yang. These are Democratic candidates who would talk about that. But you're not going to hear Joe Biden ever talking about entrepreneurship and how we have to encourage that and develop that. And that's a way the Democrats get people to vote against their own interests, because it's like, if you are an entrepreneur, why would you vote for a party that doesn't value what you do? So I think there's a lot of people kind of accepting that. Let me put it this way. I think there's people, a large segment of people who kind of have this attitude of, well, I can't have what's in my own best interests. There is no one who's going to represent my interests. So maybe, so I'm going to settle and vote for someone who doesn't have my best interests at heart, cynically, or I'm just not going to vote or whatever. So I actually think maybe people need to be a little bit more selfish, but that requires people actually, learning about this stuff too, and, Billy Bob living in the woods of Alabama probably isn't going to invest the time to learn that maybe protecting the wealth of the super rich is not the most important thing in the world. And maybe he should actually care about himself and his own family and what's best for them economically. He's not going to invest that time. He's too busy cleaning his guns. You knew I was going to do that.
I knew you were going to. So, wow, that just opened up a whole can of worms for me. I want to ask you a couple things based on that, because you've grown to know me in the last 6 or 7 months as a political sponge.
Well, yeah.
With lack of it, I mean, that's kind of what it is. I'm taking it all in, but I don't have a lot to, validate or respond to. But focusing back on what you just said, and I've mentioned this before, I voted for Trump because he said one thing, what do you have to lose? And I'm like, nothing, because I don't know any better. And I haven't lost, to be honest. I haven't lost anything. I've gained. First, Social Security, disability, income raises in over 30 years, 2 years in a row. Of course, one of them was a complete wash because he gave us a $40 raise and then he raised Medicare Part B $40. So it's like, thanks for nothing. But thank you for covering that raise, which probably would have happened, or the increase. Thanks for covering the increase is basically what it was. Yeah, we got to raise this because it's going broke, but we're going to take the pain of you actually paying for it off the counter. And then last year we got a $50 raise that was completely realized. Now for people on disability, and to all the haters and the whiners out there, it's huge. It's beyond, that's $600 a year. And for all the people that think that, you know, get a job, you slob, well, I'd love to. And this is my point to your point. I would love to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I've applied. Well, what are your skills? Well, I can fly a drone. I can do computer support. I can run a soundboard. I can talk smack with my friend in New Hampshire twice a week. What exactly does that mean? What are your skills? It's kind of up to me, isn't it? If I want to be an entrepreneur,
mm-hmm.
And I want to, you know, so I guess I'm going back to that same old thing where once in the system, you're kind of screwed and dismissed.
I see what you're saying.
And dismissed by the system. I posted a thing or a response about I posted that I didn't get my check when I found out that there's more to this stimulus than meets the eye, and it wasn't just child support. Even though I'm on a strict money deducted court order, that money should have come to me. Now I can fight it and appeal it, but it goes to hopefully my daughter gets it, and then I don't care. But most of the over, $50,000 I paid has gone to her mother, which I do care, but we won't get involved in that. But my point is this: it's not just child support debt; it's judgments, it's medical collections, all kinds of things. People are getting a letter like I got saying, "Here's where your money went." And of course, a lot of people weren't as dumb as I was to say, "Okay, I got a letter from the IRS that says this money was deposited, so I'm going to go pay off my debt." Bad mistake. So I sent you that thing in Messenger today. New hope on the horizon that I'm not even going to get involved in. That would be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I am not defending it, even for myself, who would think it would be like winning the lottery. $600 a week for the next 13 weeks? Are you kidding me? Like me being a millionaire. I would be out of debt in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Credit card debt. Well, it does. $1,800 is not a lot of debt, except when you can only pay it back at $25 a month.
Right.
It just as well be 18 grand. But this can't be real. But yet these are things coming directly from the Department of Labor. But anyway, back to your statement of entrepreneurship. Trust me when I tell you I've tried. I think in the time we've known each other, that I've got the tenacity to try stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I just, when I get shot down, I research it and go, well, why? And okay, well, I'm not going to do it again. Maybe I'm a self-defeatist like you're talking about in that arena because I'm uneducated on the entrepreneur system, and I'm uneducated. Why? Because exactly what you said. There's no programs. There's no programs for the disabled on becoming an entrepreneur. Why? Well, who's disabled that's got enough money to be an entrepreneur? Why would we start a program for that? Well, come on, people. It's not about money. It's about intellect. It's about brain power. It's about maybe somebody would back me.
Right. Yeah.
So take that bone and run with it around the yard for a second. People on disability, true disability, not those that bought the Red Arrow wagon and are just driving it around the parking lot, that struggle. We already live 200% below the poverty level. People already whine at us when we make a statement about that and say, get a job, and poor you. And well, yeah, it is poor me. I'm not complaining. It's a factual statement. So how do we get involved in this? What do we need to do? Do we need to vote Democrat? Do we need to vote Republican? How do we get what you're saying into our methodology of government, that there's more to the disabled population than meets the eye?
See, that's one of those issues where it's kind of a no-win situation. It's because of no-win situations that I prefer to be an independent, because to me, both liberals and conservatives get this wrong. liberals are perfectly happy to have you trapped in the system with no way out, and liberals don't care about entrepreneurship. So they would prefer to just, you just take the money and that's it.
And shut up. Yeah.
Right. And conservatives get it wrong because conservatives go around acting like anybody who's on any kind of assistance is a leech and just a loser and is lazy and needs to go out and get a job. That's how conservatives and libertarians tend to approach.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
Do you know that the battery, and maybe you don't because you're not there. I'll bet Jenny does. The battery of tests and retests and second guessing and psychological, I don't know if he's lying or not, and x-rays and blood work that it takes for the government to go, yeah, you're a nutcase. You're done.
Sure. Yeah. But conservatives don't believe any of that. They think
okay. All right.
You know what I mean? Conservatives act like, oh, it's so easy, and then you're just on the dole, and we're all paying for it and everything. And meanwhile, liberals act like, yeah, so just stick with that. So it's there's nowhere to go ideologically with it. They both sides get it wrong.
That's brilliant. There you go. Okay, that's kind of what I was looking for. So there is no real option when it comes down to left or right on voting that who might in the future make this observation and go, it's not just helping the poor, but it's helping the poor help themselves. Now, being on disability is automatic poor. Simple as that. But it's not a pity party, and there's so many people that think it is.
Yep.
And these are the people that are fortunate enough to have never missed a day of work in their life. Like I did until my brain short-circuited. It's not my fault, man. Why are you angry at me? It's not my fault. Why are you angry at all the other people that went through, some of them up to 3 years, of the battery of honest speculation and doubt that it takes for the government to go, wow, you're right, you win.
Yep.
It's incredible. And then you have to prove yourself all over again in daily society.
By the way, I would just add, because given the two options, if you're in that situation, given the two options, you are better off voting for Democrats than Republicans. I don't mean to create a
that's
false
okay.
equivalence.
No, that's all right.
Because at least if you vote for Democrats, they'll protect that help that you need, and you might even get a cost of living increase. But Republicans are always talking about, they want to cut because, even though it's a sliver of the budget, they talk about wanting to cut Social Security. They don't talk about it around election time because you got to be able to carry Florida to win the White House. But so they're strategic about it, but they're always.
All right, so
the Democrats have never tried to sell you out on that either.
No,
they have.
No, but they've never given us a raise.
Obama and Biden actually, and this is why some people on the left don't like them. They actually almost cut what you get, but that gets into a whole other thing. But in the macro, in that sense, you're better off voting for Democrats to protect what you have. Even though they both get it wrong, it's not an equivalence. So I do want to just clarify that.
Well,
there is one's better than the other for that issue.
Well, yeah, and I think here's the grand facade. All the haters out there that go, oh, you need to get a job. You can function. You can walk. You can talk. Don't understand anything about mental illness, and they don't understand anything about knees that have worn out and need surgery and you don't have the money to pay for it, yada, yada, yada. The Republicans are always talking about, I think I'm going to get this right. You'll school me if I'm wrong. They're always talking about, well, we got to cut back on this because we stole all the money. and we can't afford to pay it back. So now we got to cut back. Wait a minute. I paid my dues for 47 years. I bought insurance as it was touted. Well, first of all, I didn't have any choice. I wasn't given an option to opt out. Okay. Not my fault. This was your plan. All right, great. Plans are changing. I get that. Okay, but reducing things is not an option when we paid for what we were promised. Simple as that.
Right.
You know, I bought a life insurance policy. When I die, you better pay off. Simple as that.
Exactly.
If you're going to bankrupt Social Security, bankrupt the government. Shut it all down, start from zero. It's not about the older population, people. It's about waste.
Right.
It's about waste and uneducated haters that think people that paid in for 50 years, had a brain aneurysm and a busted knee, are righting the system.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts your karma. It hurts your psyche. And it hurts your ability, to be honest, to get a job.
Right.
I had to quit. I had to leave Lowe's, as you know, last September because of the concrete and the hammers.
Yeah.
It's been, this is April, May? What is this, April? I haven't even got a single, hey, come in for an interview after four required applications a week since September till now, because I have, and I own up to it up front, I'm not going to waste my time buying a new shirt, tucking it in, and it won't fit anyway because of my belly, tucking it in, driving down for a job interview, and they go, oh, you didn't mention that on your resume. Well, we'll let you know. Well, disability is liability. So I put it on my resume. I don't, so it's like, it's an immediate turnoff.
Yeah.
But why bother going down and trying to get a job where you'll work a week and go, oh, we didn't quite know this, so we got to let you go.
Right.
Where Lowe's is a company that actually went out of their way with what would be the word? I don't want to say special treatment, but accommodations.
Yeah.
They have people there with full-blown cancer. They have, and people working there that have no legs. I mean, they're on, artificial. They make considerations for those people, but you still work. You have to work hard to take advantage of those considerations, but I guess I'm jaded, trying to stay on topic. I guess I'm jaded that I am just not a viable entity anymore. I've got a working brain. I got a computer. I can help people with their computers. There's stuff that I could do.
Yeah.
But I'm 63 and disabled. This guy's just got out of high school, can do the same thing you can. Oh, true that. He can. But he's not he doesn't have the work ethic I do, and he doesn't have the loyalty that I'll bring. So
right.
I don't know how to vote for that because no one talks about that. Talk about the wealthy, talk about the middle class, and talk about woe is the poor.
Mm-hmm.
But never about, here's our plan. Give it a new name, for crying out loud. Call it lower middle class. Stop calling it poor people.
Right.
Give us a little self-esteem, would you?
Yeah. Right.
Lower middle class, and how we're going to help them help themselves. Because there's nothing right now. Nothing except a mindset in the employer population of disability equals liability. I don't want to touch it. There's no more tax breaks, I guess, for hiring the disabled or the different color of skin, and you can get 10% more a year because you went, whoa, I'm a human. Let me hire this guy. No, you don't get that anymore, so why bother?
Right.
I'm sorry. I took this way off topic on a rant, but there's what I deal with when I want to vote.
Right. Right.
Fix it. Oh, yeah. And fix it tomorrow, you know.
Right.
I'm very reasonable. Just I want to wake up tomorrow and then find out about a fix.
Right.
I like this virus. Okay, I'm done with it, so fix it. I've said my piece, and I don't want to wake up tomorrow to any COVID news.
Yes.
On a lighter note, what do you miss since the show's gone down?
Well, the show is
the
still
live
going.
show for, well, I know it is, and I listen.
Yeah. Matt Connarton Unleashed, for anyone who doesn't know, it's still on every day. New content. We've mixed in some best ofs, but weekdays 4 to 6. If you're local here in Manchester, New Hampshire, of course, you can listen on WMNH 95.3 FM, and you can stream it online. And the only thing that's different right now is, of course, we're not able to be live because of the stay-at-home order here in New Hampshire, which is supposed to end on May 4. So I'm recording the show every day at home, and I send it in, and then it gets scheduled there into the computer to air from 4 to 6. So I look forward to getting back. I miss being in that beautiful studio. It's fine to do it from home, but it's just very, very convenient, to be sitting there kind of in the captain's chair, as I like to think of it. And all the technology that I need is right there in front of me.
Right.
And it's just, it's much easier, and it's easier to sort of be spontaneous and take live calls and, have the chat room going and all of that. So I look forward to getting back to that.
I mentioned it last time we talked that I love the dynamic between you and Jenny at home, but there is something to say for the dynamic of people that just walk in and, put on the set of headphones and join the show. And I didn't quite understand what you were talking about last time you mentioned it, but I listened again. Then I went and listened to the last live show. And you're right. You're not quieter really or mundane. It's just a different dynamic. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a very usable dynamic you want to research in the future. Either bring Jenny in every now and then or more often than she does, or have a nighttime thing. But I was just curious of what you miss the most about, the 4 to 6 being in your little capsule there. So I would miss it. And I think what I would miss the most is the people, the guests that pop in. But
yeah, absolutely.
All right, couple more, and then we're about done. Well, I don't want to talk about that. Did you see anything today about Trump suspending the immigration stuff?
Yeah, this may surprise some people to hear me say this, because I'm about as liberal as anybody on immigration, but I don't have a problem with him suspending immigration while we're dealing with what we're dealing with. I don't have any problem with it at all, to be honest with you. It's fine. I think it makes sense to kind of suspend everything. I mean, as long as there aren't people who are already, maybe people who are already here who are trying to do something to make sure they can legally stay and in the process of, renewing their green card or however that works, as long as it's not gumming up the works for people who are already here, that I don't, but I haven't looked closely enough at it to see exactly what all this encompasses. But the idea of suspending the process temporarily of bringing people in, whether it be on the, is it the H-1B1 visa? I'm never quite sure I'm saying that right, or anything like that. While this is going on, I have no problem with that at all. None.
Well, I think what I got to fix this process over here. I'm not sure why there's a problem, but I think my question is, if it's as easygoing and laid back as, okay, let's just suspend things for now. No one panic. Why didn't we do that last year and the year before? Why didn't we just suspend things and stop the nonsense that we ended up with?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, we had, people breaking down border fences. We had, we had different things going into place every day about people trying to get over here. We had changes in immigration law every week. We had the left and right battling, one another over what's right, what's humane, and a whole lot of mistakes made down in Texas, separating families.
Yeah. I don't think the answer to any of that is suspending immigration. I think the answer to all of that is fixing the immigration system, which, in my opinion, does not include building a big wall and calling it a day. They have to actually do the work and fix the immigration system itself. So to me, that's a separate issue.
Okay, well, to me, it went right to my head as being kind of the forefront of the problem. Suspend it, slowly put these radical things you just immediately put in place. There wasn't any type of calm approach. It was just all, radical implementation. So I don't know enough about it. And that's why I ask questions. But it just seems to me that this stuff that I read today is just all about, well, we're just going to calm it down. We're going to stop it for a little bit. And
yeah, I think under the circumstances, it's prudent to do that.
I agree. My curiosity was why didn't we do that to begin with a couple of years ago when we had a problem, instead of going at it a little more calmly, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, well, you don't want to give, or if you're someone like me who tends to be pretty liberal on immigration, you don't want to give Trump what he wants.
Oh,
I mean, that's what Trump wants, is an excuse to stop immigration, calling Mexicans rapists and all that.
Yeah.
This is just different because now there's an actual legitimate reason to do it.
Okay, well, maybe that's what I'm searching for. What's different other than the virus? And you're saying that Mass is going to open up May 1st. Now, last time we talked, you thought it would be the end of May. Have you seen logistical changes, or just is it hearsay?
Oh, no, I think the stay-at-home order, I don't know when the stay-at-home order in Mass ends. In New Hampshire, it ends May 4th, but I'm pretty sure it'll get extended. I'm predicting end of May, yeah.
Well, they extended it here till the end of the month, but I don't even know if they're going to make that with all the protests. And Idahoans are quite the strong bunch, and they usually get their way. Last question. How much confidence do you have in these FDA at-home COVID tests?
I don't have an opinion yet.
Okay.
Jenny just told me about that today. She's the first one who alerted me about that. I have no idea. I don't know enough about it. I hope they work.
Well, okay. So I guess I'm laughing at it because here you're gonna give me a test that I can do at home, and the ones that I could take at the hospital don't even work yet. So I'm confused. Right. I just don't get. I don't get some of it. And again, I'm getting my news from the most unreliable place in the world, the internet. Right. But where else do you go?
Right.
If you don't have cable, you don't have any type of patch into even choosing the only news you want to listen to. I have over the air, so I'm stuck. At least I don't have to watch CNN because I don't have the respect for them that you do. But I don't have to. I don't have to. They're not in my choices of channels. But I was just curious. I mean, there's just a lot going on today. I think the perspective is that this is slowing down. But I'm going to call that's what's today. Today is.
April 21st.
Tuesday, April 21st. We talk again next Tuesday. We'll see. But my bet is we're not. This isn't close to being over.
No, definitely not.
And like you addressed earlier, COVID version 2, I think is on its way. But I also agree with you after another week of watching the media and watching the people. And then going back a few years and watching things like Farm Aid and, Feed the World and Farm Aid and World Peace concerts and things like that. We've yet to see one of those, which is, I guess, understandable because you can't have a crowd. Right. But you could probably do it virtually, which would be unique and cool and money well spent, I think. And broadcast it on over the air, not just the internet. You know what I mean? That would be that would probably be cool for a whole lot of people stuck at home without an iPad or a laptop, just local TV and Ion television. Well, buddy, that's about all I got. Again, it's just a curious mind about a lot of this stuff, and I know people probably think, "Wow, what a moron that guy is," but you know what? I'm not. I'm just a damp sponge trying to learn more, and I've chosen Matt as my prisoner to teach me.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
I know. I know. No. I know. Your beard is I know. It's been a while. Since you had a line. Woo! It's been such a long time. I know you want to laugh. I know, ladies, I know. But don't you get distracted. You gotta stay home. Stay home. Even though you look a mess. Even though you look a mess. I know. You gotta stay home. Stay home. Hear me. This is just a test. Come on, y'all. It's just a test. You gotta stay home. Stay home. Even when it's nice outside. Even when it's nice outside. I know it's hard. But you gotta stay home. Stay home. It's not worth your life. It's not worth your life. Take it up. You gotta stay home. Stay home. Hey. Even though you look a mess. Look at my hair. You look a mess. You gotta stay home. Stay home. Come on. I don't know who this is for, but I've been on social media. I've seen your pictures. I know what you're going through. Some of you, I didn't even know you had gray hair. I didn't even know. But you haven't been able to go to the barber, and now it's hard. I know, trust me. Oh, I feel this thing. Whew. I didn't know. But as time is passing by and you can't get your hands on the Beijing, things are starting to come out. Things are starting to be revealed in this season. And although we are looking rough right now, I want to encourage somebody out there. There's still some things that you can do. You can still use lotion. Come on now. You can still that. You can still do that. You don't have to be ashy. You don't have to be ashy. Come on. You know, sister, not having your hair done and being ashy. Come on now. Take a bath. You can still take a bath. Come on. I know you're not going outside. We still want to be clean. Put on some deodorant. Right guard. Come, raise your hands if you're sure. You come on now.
Hey guys, so if you need some songs to get you through the day, here are a few. I think I did it again. I just touched my face. It's the new cardinal sin. Oh baby, I thought I never did it, but I guess yes I do, like 5 times a minute. I do it so much, it's scary, but it's involuntary. Ooh, baby, baby, ooh, I did it again. I just touched my face. What else did I touch? Ooh, baby, baby, oops, I just touched my clothes and then scratched my nose. I'm not that disciplined. You are my fave, but are you contagious? The social distance rules say go 6 feet that way. You know I love you, but I just can't touch you. We can hug again, maybe someday, but go 6 feet that way. Tell me why, 'cause we can stop the spreading. Tell me why, healthcare is taxed already. That is why we all should be okay to go 6 feet that way. Hey doctors, yeah, we know we are hoes without you guys. We know you have way too many patients. Hey doctors, so we won't moan about our inconvenient lives. You guys are the ones who are courageous. Your workday is outrageous. Man, you must hate us, 'cause we're all contagious. Here's the thing, we started out friends, but then we had to do fractions. Yeah, yeah, since you've been home, I'm gonna pull out all my hair, trying to understand a Punnett square. Yeah, yeah, since you've been home, I never did math this way. Not sure this is helping you. How do teachers do this all day?